What's up everyone, Speedy here. In this 1v1 video, we're going to be doing 2 live games as well as 1 replay review. So let's get right into it. Here we are in game number 1. So one of my goals for this video is going to be to try to improve my challenges. So there are a few ways you can do that. First way is just awareness. First, I put a quick shot on net. Couldn't get there. So let's watch it back and understand what I did incorrectly there. Like, what lesson can I learn? So here, positioning wise, just putting myself a bit too near to the play and behind. So I'm not in a position to be able to cover for the play and then challenge in a way that gives me more of a neutral outcome. There's a poor challenge. Unfortunately, another poor challenge. So there, again, let's watch it back again. Lots of opportunities to learn even when you lose. There, just put myself in a bad position and also overcommitted by flipping the way I did. Once I had a challenge that wasn't really appropriate, it's better not to go than it is to go and then put yourself in a bad position. Nice. That was well done. See, that's a better challenge. The reason that's a better challenge isn't just because of the outcome, it's because the awareness to know that the opponent was going to go for a challenge there. And that puts me in a better position, because once I then flick it to the left, I have open space to work with, and I have an angle that opens up for me to shoot from. Not a great shot, but still okay. Open the position up. Can't really overcommit here. You see how by putting myself in that position and early challenging the first time, it kind of scares the opponent into challenging a second time. And now they actually put themselves in a bad spot. And they actually like overflicked it. They flicked it past them. You see how like by doing that, just creating that kind of like immediate kind of like, oh crap, he's gonna challenge me. But if you fake the second time, if the opponent's responsive to it, put yourself in a good spot. That's well done. I was bumping a lot, so I can't overcommit to that position. Fortunately, that doesn't go in. That's okay. And you see, one of the key things about that play is the fact that I went for the fake. A fake shot is super powerful, especially if your opponent is predicting a shot. It just puts them in a really awkward position. I think that's in. Yes. Well done. Good game though. This is hopefully for you guys as well as me. This is an instructional game, so this is a game that you're finding entertaining and also helping you kind of be aware of what some bad challenges are and what some good challenges are. So here, I have space. Typically, you wouldn't try to grab both those boosts, but if you have the space, now you're in a position where... Don't go for that wave dash, that's a poor decision. Just an awkward position. I totally flubbed that, but you know what, that works. Opponent just fully gave up on the play there. That's funny. And for reference, I have all chat disabled because honestly, with my my ADHD, I find it really distracting, and it's really hard to maintain focus when I see somebody chatting a lot, or if I see somebody like quick chatting a whole bunch. Nice. The idea for the opponent is they need to avoid trying to pop the ball into the corner. Getting a control touch is better, but a pop there is really dangerous because it puts the ball in a bad spot. And GG. Alright, really good game. Here we are in game number 2. And so just like in the first game, let's try to focus on improving our challenges. And so one thing I want to do, try to grab these pads. Now we have boost to work with. Poor play to work with. It's going to be off, but does make things awkward. So next time I have to be a bit more careful about the way I challenge. And opponent's AFK. Okay. In a situation like that, just take the free goal. Don't really delay it. Good bump on the opponent's part there. If you see your opponent turning like that, it's important that you insta-chow, or not insta-chow, but you insta-flick. Opponent does another good bump. I can cut this wide here. Good control. Didn't get the evo flick I wanted. But I just gotta keep trying to get up that free space. See, by challenging it just kind of makes them awkward. Here, flip into them, if I get that contact. That's gonna go for bump. Not a problem. So recognize, like, this is a bad challenge here. So the reason why this is a bad challenge isn't just because it gets me scored on. It's because of the commitment of the position, and it puts me in a position where he's able to complete his rotation, bumping me in the process because I was putting myself in a bad spot. Put good shot pressure here. This is also a poor challenge. The reason is because it's low percentage. So the reason why this doesn't work, again, just like before, it's not because of the reason, or it's not because of the outcome. It's because of the way I'm committing myself to a position that's low percentage. It puts me way out of the play and puts me in a position where I can't actually get back. The second part of it is it's not going to be a powerful shot because I'm coming in from the opposite side. So it's going to already be a very weak shot to begin with. What a goofy reset. I mean, it works, but not exactly what I was trying to get the result out of it, but all good. Opponent overcommits. So the reason that's a bad challenge from them is because what they did is they didn't think about the follow-up of the play. They went for the touch, and then they immediately went for my corner boost, not thinking about the fact that the ball was going to be bouncing in a place that was favorable for me. A bit awkward, still okay though. Here, grab these pads. You see this pad laying here? Now the opponent doesn't have as many options. Can't commit here. Slow percentage. Here, pad, pad. Let's keep that pressure. Trip the opponent up. Now we have a position that's favorable. The opponent doesn't want to challenge right away. Nice. Not the best shot, but opponent was very passive there. So if you find your opponent to be passive there, cut it more infield than I did. I cut it towards the net. You want to cut it way more to the right there, and then just try to place yourself into a position where you can kind of like be ready to anticipate the outcome of the play. Here, just be careful here. And you see how by like forcing the opponent to be out of position and in bad spots, now you are the one making good challenges. You are the one forcing him to make these mistakes. Like he wants to touch it back there, and unfortunately he puts himself in a really bad spot. This is a really, really good way to kind of explain and show why challenging is really important. And this is a really good method to improve it. Watch those little replays. Watch those replays in between each play. And kind of take a moment and be like, okay, you know, I made a mistake there. Okay, let's correct that. And instantly recognize the mistake and then stop that mistake then. If you just let that mistake create a pattern, it's not a mistake anymore, it's a bad habit. And that's something you want to correct. Here we are in the replay portion of the video. So this was a pretty fun one. I just played this one actually just before this replay analysis. And I have to say this was definitely a sweatier game, especially because I was going against a grand champion. It was this grand champion tournament winner, probably was either a C3 or a GC1, but somebody who was definitely underranked for Diamond 1. Very much underranked. Like I could tell mechanically they shouldn't have been this low, but that's fine. Overall, really good start. The mistakes, though, you'll see a mistake coming up here that kind of results in a goal. It's really here, just kind of a bad decision here with the challenge. When it comes to the kickoff, you want to be careful about going for a delay and being flat to the ground. So here, and then jumping at the end of it. If you want to go for a delay single jump 50 is a lot safer, because what it does is, say the ball's here. If you're down low, what's going to happen is the ball's going to pop up and it's going to pop above you. Now, if you're up higher and say you're at this midpoint here, when you single jump, you go like single jump, boom. The ball's more likely to kill or at least push back. And by pushing it back, now you get at minimum a more neutral 50 and or a 50 that can be positive for you, meaning like you can get an interaction like a shot or potentially some pressure. By not jumping really until it's already too late, first part is that it just doesn't really do anything to benefit the play, and it also puts me further out of position, which makes it more impossible. Something you're going to see this game is the opponent do like 600 fucking corner fakes. It seems to be their only kickoff strat when it comes to these 1v1 games. This guy definitely did a ton of them. Most of them I was able to make a good counterplay. As you can see here, my counterplay was really good. But a couple later on, he definitely kind of caught me a little bit off guard there, because it was kind of like you did enough times. It was like, okay, when is he not going to fake? I was like, okay, that's another fake here. Not a problem. Bring it back. A little awkward, but, you know, get myself set up. Not the best recovery in position. What you want to do is when you flip the first time, you don't have to flip the second time as long as you use your camera. So this is an awareness mistake more than anything else, because it puts me slightly out of position. If the opponent was actually like chasing and a lot closer, I definitely could have been potentially bumped there. What you want to do is, as you're doing your first flip, So you already completed the flip and you're landing. You could just do a little tap of your backwards, you know, like your rear view camera button. So for me, it's this button here. And so that allows you to kind of just get a quick view. You could just do a little like tiny little micro tap. Doesn't have to take a lot of time. Something you should incorporate into your general movement is just awareness of different types of cameras and different types of ways to view the field around you. This will help. But by being aware of where the opponent is, I could tell if I needed to actually play this faster or not. I understand the ideas because typically you want to play as fast as possible, come through the midpoint and then bring it to the corner as fast as you can. The mistake here is that I did it too fast without having enough control. The way you want to control that is without losing your speed. It's just using the camera. And then as you land here, just grab this boost and then flip and then through and grab this. And now you have ball and boost. And also you have a good, safe position to work with. By kind of like flipping the way it did, just made it a bit more awkward. The opponent was kind of playing passive here, so it favored me there. Their opponent was really, they did a really good job this game about being passive in a lot of cases, especially defensively. They were kind of just like really, really patient when it came to certain challenges. I was trying to, essentially the idea is, you could probably see the idea is, I was trying to flick it behind him, but the opponent was really just doing a good job of like doing read defense and just waiting. So that was well done on their part. So you're going to see here an unfortunate fake here. He does a good job of faking me here. This kind of goes back to this mistake here. It all stems from this position here. What I could do instead is, if I find that the play doesn't seem like it's going to be super high percentage, especially like at this point here, no need to jump. You can just stay grounded. Honestly, staying grounded is totally safe here. And then you can go for a ground to air dribble. Would be a little bit higher percentage. The way you do that is, instead of jumping here, so I'll go to like here, there's no need to jump. Because jumping, what it's doing is it puts the ball on a slightly different trajectory. You see how I land to the left of the ball, whereas before, how much more centered I was in relation to that. So because of that, that makes the play awkward, and it forces me to cut wide like this, and then have to now go for that particular touch, which the opponent, if they're doing a good job like they did here, they could read that, and then they saw that. So that's why this whole offensive play from them happened, is because of the mistake I made when going for the shot. So that was a poor position to try to challenge. Nice. It's a good kickoff here. Definitely found myself winning a lot of kickoffs. I was doing a good job of doing front flips and also the right amount of side flips against this opponent. This guy may be like a C3 or something like that. Maybe GC1. I mean, he's a Champ 10 tournament, or he's like a Season 10 Champ tournament winner, or Grand Champ tournament winner. So I assume he's probably around there. You know, somebody who's been seasoned enough in this position. And he plays that way too. He plays kind of like annoying play style, which is fair. Here, this is a good fake here. It's really key that you fake here and you don't challenge. One of the big mistakes I see people make is they ego chow this, like defensively, when the opponent has possession. One of the things you don't want to do is exactly that. You want to avoid challenging. So by faking here, what it's doing is it's forcing the opponent to actually like flip into the play and bring the play forward onto your terms. And you see how now this play, now I could work with. Ooh, look at this. Instantly, I completely force him to give me possession, all by my specific decision and my challenge to fake there. And that's why a fake challenge is really effective here. Use your challenges in a way to create opportunities for space and possession, and you will find that these interactions will go more positively for you. This is a really good example of why that works. It gives me a direct possession play. And that's really dangerous, because if I were able to get the goal here, that would result in a goal. However, obviously it didn't in this case. That's okay. It's still good offensive pressure. It's a bit dangerous to touch it the way I did here. Opponent is able to kind of put it in a place that's a little bit dangerous. It does a good job grabbing that boost. Only problem is he left that other boost for me. So here, just being patient. I actually did a good job with this cut here. The opponent was totally not ready for this. So if I cut it just a tiny increment less, I actually would have had a perfect shot slotted in the left side of the field, or left side of the goal. This one went to the left side of the field. to the left side of the goal. However, one of the things you want to do is just kind of be more deliberate here. So I like the idea for the hook shot here. It's just the tiniest little bit wide. You can honestly, like right here, you can cut a little bit more. So instead of being like here on this trajectory, so going like that, just be kind of like, if I don't, you're not going to necessarily see this in game, but if you see this like shadow here, gotta be on the inside part of the shadow and then pop. Because you see how like this whole shot right here, that angles directly to that position there. So these are things you want to be aware of. You're not always going to find that in game, but these are things in replay reviews can be really, really good ways to just be aware of how to improve the play. Opponent makes a bad mistake here trying to get set up for a play. This is a beautiful, beautiful play. This was honestly a really, really good defensive play. Go here, get the zap dash, great offensive play, and it actually does directly lead to a goal here. Get the bump, and there we go. We got ourselves another goal. And so this is going to be something you see often, is these kind of positional bumps, is just being aware. As you remember in the second game we played, I was going against somebody who's doing a lot of bumps, and I found myself a couple times getting bumped. You want to be aware of when your opponent's trying to go for bumps, but also try to be aware defensively if your opponent is positioning themselves in a way that's going to lead to a bump. So like, for example, going for these wall plays where now I'm up on the wall with you on the wall as well. Now we both have momentum on the wall. Now I know for sure I can get a bump on you. So this is a bit of a mechanical edge I had on the opponent here in this moment, was my recovery plays. My recoveries were really, really on point this game. My zap dash was great. My recoveries and the shots were good. My positioning here for this setup was really good, especially with this wave dash. One of the things you want to learn is that any rank, especially in the lower ranks, if you do not know how to do certain recovery mechanics, learn to do these recovery mechanics. Learn to do a wave dash. And when you get really comfortable with wave dashes, learn to do wave dashes in different directions, not just forward or backwards. Do sides, do diagonals on both sides, so that way you're fluent in all directions. And then once you get to that point, start practicing things like curve dashes. Start eventually, once you're really, really used to curve dashes, learn how to do wall dashes. Wall dashes are another really good tool. Learn how to do wall dashes the correct way and without using boost. Try not to use boost at all when you're learning wall dashes, because when you start to use boost as you're already really good with wall dashing, you become really, really deadly when it comes to how fast you can get up to supersonic. So just like almost like bam, you're supersonic. Because you could do like wall dash, boom, like that, and you're already, and you can do it even faster than that, and you can be supersonic. This play positionally was really important. Here, first bump, but then recognizing the opportunity for the off-wall recovery. This is an example of an off-wall wall dash, or sorry, an off-wall wave dash that you can be really, really effective with. The reason why it's so effective is because it puts you in a position where you go from sub-supersonic or just subsonic to supersonic speed, just like that. And because you get to that position, you have that type of like positioning, you have that type of speed. It's really deadly, it's really potent and explosive. This guy did not expect that. The first bump caught him off guard. The second bump just basically plows through him, gives him no chance. He has no chance to come back because he's just completely gone. And that's what you want to do. You want to put yourself in good positions by recognizing when bump plays are effective. If you're going to go against players that are highly mechanical or better in terms of just like experience, recognize that you can find your own advantages. I went against a guy who's probably a C3, maybe GC1, but at the end of the day, I recognize that just an opponent. So this is a big mistake here. Going for the fake on the fakes here is dangerous because the opponent has been doing almost nothing. But I eventually, at this moment, I remember expecting the opponent to do something different. That's why I went for this. He still went for this. I also missed the boost. This is a really big mistake, missing the boost, because it makes it harder for me to actually like be aggressive with this. Because with full boost, you typically have the leeway to be more aggressive with the play. Especially defensively, you can like early chow that. You can early chow that by like single jumping and then like flipping through the side once you make contact with the ball to force it a certain way. But because I missed that big boost there, it just made me awkward. And then the opponent just had an easy shot to this, of course, a bar down. So these are mistakes that are important for me to recognize. Of course, guy's very much like a fucking one-trick pony. Just decides, oh, so this is a better job of kind of pointing myself in the correct direction, so that's good. Here, just try to be careful here. One of the big problems I often have found myself in is right here. So when you get a ball that's a high floater going towards mid at a slow pace, and you see your opponent is in a position like this, one thing I would try to do is I oftentimes would try to flip. So I would like jump and then flip. That's how you miss. But what happens is if you stay upright like this and you do a second jump, especially when you're going down, what it does is it slows down the trajectory. So for example, instead of going like this, it goes like that. And it's not necessarily always that dramatized, but it's just a little delay. It's just a tiny little delay, but that little delay, I'm going to show it again and try to spot for it. Watch for it. So let me do right here, and let me show you. You see how I was able to just get that little bit of extra movement and be able to kind of hang close to the ball here? That's where it creates that. It's very slight. It's a very slight thing to do, but because it's very slight, unfortunate miss. Because it's very slight, it makes the play really potent. Unfortunately, you couldn't really get a shot there. It was a bit tricky. Best thing you do there is exactly what I did. Is you bring it back to basically to the safety of your corner. You just wait. This is a bit of a mistake here. It gave the possession away to the opponent. I just want to be more careful than that. This is poor. What you want to do is, if you're not going to be able to get a shot that's like appropriate, just bang it into the corner and grab that mid boost. The reason I say that is you'll see right here. So let me go like right here, and you'll see. Because if I bang it to the corner, I can grab that corner boost. I have momentum, and I can technically fight for that. So I can definitely get that. And if not, I can bang it to the corner, grab this mid boost, and now I can play for shadow play. Because if I'm going to lose possession anyways, I might as well have not have possession, but have boost, and also be in a position where I have time and space throughout the entire field, because we're both on essentially his half, and I'm facing my side here, so I'm facing goal side. I'm in a safe spot. I can defend and be able to cover. By being in this position, as you can see here, puts me in an awkward spot. Opponent does a good job of getting the shot, and he gets the shot because I missed that boost as well. That whole play would not have happened based off of that mistake with the shot here. So recognize when mistakes happen. Sometimes a mistake is hidden behind a play 20 to 30 seconds behind when the goal scored. This is something you need to learn to spot in your replays. These are important moments that will very much help you learn, and this is how you could do that. Good job just being patient. I remember in this split second that I should have gotten the bump here. That's so unfortunate. Dude, look how little that margin was. Did you see that? That was like a millimeter of distance. Oh, dude. Bro is really fortunate that just couldn't get the bump there. I like this. I like that play. The reason I like that play is twofold. One is the pressure play with the bump here just forces him into a position where now he's kind of like awkward. But here, instantly bring possession back into my favor here. This is exactly what you want. The problem is this part here. Is the bump, or not the bump, sorry, the bounce. It's a big mistake here. I do a good job staying close to the play. Both of us made mistakes in this play that honestly should have converted into a goal. I got fortunate that the opponent kind of messed up their touch. But realistically, I like this play here. You could honestly single jump just a tiny bit earlier, and that would bring the ball a little bit lower. So instead of being like kind of like a bounce like that, it would just be more like that, and it would be more likely to kind of roll. A rolling ball is a lot safer. It's a lot safer to work with. A bouncing ball like this is really dangerous because look how easy of a potential opportunity it is for the opponent to now attack. It's just barely too much to the side for the opponent to be able to like capitalize on it. But if it were bouncing just a tiny bit different and the opponent read it a little bit better, that very much could have been a shot on net, and that would have been really difficult for me to save. Fortunate miss. It does, I mean, well, this is a fortunate miss. It's a mistake that happens to still work out. Let's see here. How did this goal go? I don't mind that delay. It's not like really a bad delay at all. I like the takeoff until I started twirling. So at this point here, what happens is I basically start air rolling off trajectory. So pay attention to the air roll trajectory here. So at this point, I get contact with this part of the ball, or with this part of the car, and that's what creates that separation. Typically, if you hit it with the hood of your car, so right here, this is usually the softer part of it. It's essentially, it's known as the Zen touch, where you get this perfect control touch. And that's kind of the idea, is you want to get a control touch with that while you're air rolling. You can air roll if you want. Try not to air roll too much, because unfortunately it kind of does lead to this separation, which is where the opponent now has an easy save, and also I mess up the recovery, which of course wouldn't have mattered because he is already just a bit more upfield. He could easily shoot it, and it does of course lead to a goal. So this is a decision-making error as well as a mechanical error as well. It's a good 50. Nice. I like the follow up there, kind of mentally following up, you know, made the mistake. Okay, cool. Get scored on, score back. The opponent does get a goal here that's kind of annoying. I decided to go for something different. I tried to I made myself a bit too wide here. I wanted to bring it to the side boost there, as you can see as I was pointing. Didn't really do a good job of that, because not only did I miss that, I missed the pad, or missed the boost. Opponent got it, and now the opponent has a free goal. Fortunately, this works out. Opponent's entire game plan this game was just fucking corner fakes, which is a little on the cringe side, because doing the same thing over and over again just gets kind of old, especially. It's like, okay, dude, you know, it's like that's your one strat. Here you want to be careful. This is a great opportunity to kind of go over that first touch. So pay attention. I'm going to put it on 10 speed this time because this will be slower. And look how diagonal I am to this. So it's an awkward play because the ball's rolling this way, and of course I have to grab that boost to be able to have a play. What you want to do is you want to try to almost as if you're hook shotting, where you get a J shape. You want to do that a little bit. You want to just kind of curve in and then pop vertically, and kind of very, very gentle pop vertically as you get set up here. That'll bring the ball here, ideally. Obviously, that's not what happens. As you can see here, pop it way to the side. That's because I was a bit to the side here. And then when I jumped for the first touch, that's what created that awkwardness, is because I popped it at this point in the ball, and it popped it away and out like this, versus getting a little bit more under the ball, which would give it that more vertical pop that we're looking for. And that's what's a safer play in that case. Fine at 0 boost. It's a good defensive 50. Not committing here. This would be dangerous if I did. Here, just recognizing play that I could work with. Opponent makes themselves awkward. That's just coming in too fast. Honestly, just too fast on the upswing there. It's because I'm boosting through it. Because when you boost through it, what happens is that's what gets you above the ball. As you can see here, there's no play anymore. And at this point, I have to okay, pop it back and then try to get myself to a spot where I can cover. Nothing really positive happens at that point because of that. But still, nonetheless, it's a very, very good game. And very good session, I will say. I'm very happy with the way I played that. I'm very happy with the way I played the live games as well. And I hope you guys learned a bit about how to challenge better. These are really, really good example games that I hope will help you improve your challenges. And that being said, if you enjoyed watching this video, I'd like to ask you to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Speedy Man out.